Time is the most valuable asset, and I save it for you. Welcome to the Week in YouTube Finance.
Have you ever tried to hold a beach ball underwater? This is not a beach ball, it's my daughter's little kickball, but you get the idea. You can push it down, you can suppress it, maybe even sit on it, but the second you let go, boom, it rockets back up. So that's exactly what's happening right now. Stocks are soaring since Trump tweeted it's a great time to buy. They're actually up 14%. And after one of the ugliest drops of the year, we've seen a massive rally, and it might just be signaling that lows for 2025 are in. Let's break it all down. Oh, you like that? Channel my inner Andre Miller. Bonus points if you remember Andre Miller. Oh, so back on April 2nd, the day after Liberation Day, markets tanked hard. And I'm talking more than a 10% drop in just 2 days. So fear and panic was everywhere. And you can see that by all the old videos that I was making from about a month ago. But just like that, with the beach ball underwater, when it finally shot back up, it ripped, okay? On April 8th, the S&P 500 was down over 12%, one of the worst one-month drops ever. And if you fast forward just 30 days, stocks surged over 13.5%. So that's the best one-month gain since the COVID lows in 2020. So if you go down here, you can see the S&P 500 index on a 21-day rolling return. You can see all these COVID dates, 2020, 2020, 2020. The next best, 5/8/2025, buddy. 13.7%. That's why during all those videos in April, I was telling you to buy the dip. I deployed over $50,000 buying the dip over the past month and a half, and now my portfolio is doing incredibly well, and this is what I feel like.
I'm gonna come.
So the best and worst market days are always clustered together. That's why I'm sharing this chart with you. So if you miss the bad, you're probably gonna miss the good too. We have 0 to 80% gains. We have 0 to negative 50% gains, and you can see the massive swings. Okay, so we all hold Fartcoin, right? It's a big holding of mine. Really? Who's buying Fartcoin? Really, guys? This is a mature investing channel, okay? But for those of you that have held Fartcoin, good for you. Bitcoin, 18%, NASDAQ, 6%, international developed stocks, 5%, emerging markets, 4%. Gold, 3%, even though it is hitting multiple all-time highs. It's hit about 55 all-time highs the past year. S&P 500, 3%. Bonds, still, a nothing burger. US dollar, minus 1%. And then crude oil, which I've been talking about in all my last videos, down 13%. Your boy's here to stay. Thank you for watching. Peace. Bye.
Well, thank you for that, Marco. Love the sound effects.
For the past month, everyone has been bearish on Bitcoin. When it hit $75,000 a month ago, people were calling for even lower prices. Well, guess what, bears? We just went back over $100,000. How do you like them apples? Now, we might correct from here, but I think the outlook is very bullish for Bitcoin. In fact, I think $150,000 Bitcoin or even higher is still in play. So let's talk about why. Well, maybe you noticed that the US has gone tariff crazy and basically started trade wars. This had led to uncertainty and big stock and crypto market drops. However, things have now stabilized, and with each piece of good news, price goes up. For example, Trump announced a full and comprehensive trade deal with the United Kingdom. This announcement comes after weeks of negotiations during a global trade uncertainty, which was influenced by tariffs on imports, including a 10% baseline tariff on UK goods and 25% on steel, aluminum, and vehicles. Or as they say, aluminium. The deal that was just finalized signals a de-escalation of tariff pressures for the UK, a major US trading partner. As a result, Bitcoin is up over $101,000 as I record this video. When again, as I already mentioned, just a month ago, it was at 75K. Positive trade developments can trigger big risk-on behavior, and the world of crypto, in case you hadn't noticed, is incredibly risk-on. This means stocks, and Bitcoin will typically go up in price. A successful US UK deal could set a precedent for agreements with other countries. A deal with China, for example, would be massive for the markets. Also big in the news as I record this video, New Hampshire has made history by becoming the first US state to pass a law creating a Bitcoin reserve. And not just a reserve like other states have established where they can collect fees and taxes in Bitcoin and hold it, but a reserve where they will actively purchase Bitcoin. A very, very important first. This bill lets the state invest up to 5% of its $3.6 billion treasury, about $181 million, into Bitcoin and precious metals like gold and silver. And this move sets a bold precedent.
Let's see if it pays off for them.
While other states like Texas and Arizona are considering similar steps, and Texas, my home state, you better go with the program, New Hampshire is officially the first to take action. But the overall idea is to hedge against inflation, diversify reserves, and then bet on Bitcoin's long-term value, which to date has been a great bet. One state doing this will not move the price, just move sentiment, but 10 states, 20, 30 plus, well, that kind of inflation eats away at your dollars. But Bitcoin, well, it doesn't get diluted. This is one of the big reasons why I love Bitcoin so much. And with the 2024 halving, cutting new Bitcoin creation to just 450 per day, it's even scarcer now. That digital gold narrative is getting stronger and stronger, especially as institutions jump in. Like I said, MicroStrategy is loading up, GameStop's in, and now even states are jumping into the stacking Bitcoin game, which of course is a sentence I was not expecting to say. In just the past month, Bitcoin's price is up 37% with ETF inflows and tight supply pushing it higher. But of course, it is not that easy. Bitcoin still swings hard, especially with recession fears and market corrections, but as a hedge against inflation, well, I think it's looking stronger than ever, and it seems like the markets are agreeing. It's also worth noting that regulation around crypto, especially Bitcoin, keeps getting clearer and clearer, which is a pretty massive deal. This month, the OCC, that's the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, gave the green light for banks to actually handle crypto. That's custody, payments, stablecoins, the whole package. And that's a big step toward bringing Bitcoin into the traditional finance world. Well, what's next are the altcoins. If Bitcoin keeps running and the hype keeps building, then the whole market could go parabolic. In my mind, and based on what we're seeing out there in the world right now, $150,000 Bitcoin and beyond is inevitable. But again, it might not happen right away. I think all that I've been talking about here is a strong list of indicators and events that need to transpire before we see those prices. The big question though with all of this is, how do you make more money? Well, watch this video right here where I dissect what I think is the biggest indicator of where Bitcoin's price will go and how to watch for the signs so you don't miss out, and what steps you can take to make a ton of money in the process. Goodbye.
Well, very cool. Thank you for that, Andy. Very entertaining video. Are we going over 150 with Bitcoin? What do you think? How soon is that going to be? Let me know.
Something just happened that could completely reshape how the world works. On May 13th, President Donald Trump stood in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and announced a $600 billion investment deal between Saudi Arabia and the United States. Now, this wasn't just about oil or weapons or technology, but it could be the beginning of a new era for the petrodollar. A $1.8 trillion shift from the Middle East straight into the US economy. It's something we haven't seen on this scale in decades. And at the same time, the president helped broker a ceasefire between India and Pakistan, pulling two nuclear countries back from the brink of war. And that alone would be historic. But at the same time, the US and China agreed to pause their tariffs, cutting the rates from 145% down to 30%. And the market exploded. The S&P 500 went way up, the Dow Jones went up, and even Bitcoin is now trading above $100,000 a coin. And then, to cap it all off, Coinbase did something that no crypto company has ever done before. It was just added to the S&P 500 index, making crypto and Bitcoin officially part of the American financial mainstream. Whether you believe this moment is the start of a new golden era, or it's a temporary spike and we're going to crash at some point, which could also be true, the signal so far is money is moving into the markets, alliances are shifting, and a new financial era is starting to happen. And the biggest risk for me isn't being wrong, It's being unprepared and staying out of the market, at least for someone in my situation who has some time to stay invested. But as always, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to see you back here next week. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.